Gender and differences in gender roles have existed since biblical times. The idea that women were weaker than men due to physical and mental advantages created gender roles and separation amongst men and women. Women's inferiority was constructed by the Bible story of Adam and Eve. In the book of Genesis, it says how Eve fell into temptation and disobeyed God by eating from the forbidden tree. Eve's actions led to God punishing us, and for her sins we all suffer every day. Many believed that women were unable to make rational decisions for themselves and needed men to guide them. These ideologies were constructed by men and their patriarchal views to put women below them. It wasn't the case for some Native American tribes in the United States, specifically before American Revolution. This video will show you similarities and differences among European settlers and Native Americans, and how their gender roles influence society in America today.
Europeans in their culture was a patriarchal society, which means that society was dominated and ran by men, specifically white males. Men were the ones who took charge and established society in the community, while the women were submissive and seen as second-class citizens. Women were more likely to be accused, convicted, and executed for witchcraft if they didn't have husbands, brothers, or sons. In the 19th century, women who owned land without a husband, son, or male figure were even convicted of being witches, and some were executed because of these acquisitions. Women owning land without a male heir was uncommon in colonial America, and men were uncomfortable with the idea of women having power, thus creating these acquisitions, leading to many unfair treatment towards these women.
Unlike European women, Native American women were valued among their communities. Many Native American women were leaders of the tribes since they had experience raising a stable home. Women were in charge of overseeing the family's well-being, while the husband's only job was to provide for the family. Native American women were responsible not only for reproducing the traditional features of their culture, but for much of its adaptive capacity as well. Women had great influence over decisions to move to new grounds and initiate planting. Indian men assumed a range of responsibilities that complemented those of women. Men were responsible for clearing the grounds for women to plant on. They went and searched for food, they did the hunting and fishing.
Women were producers and consumers of household goods. They were the first to feel the impact of new technologies and trade. Native American men had a range of responsibility that would complement those of women. Kathleen Brown states that believes in male authority over women and in the primacy of men's economic activities sustained a perception of social order even as women marketed butter, cheese, and ale. When both the European settlers and Native Americans came into contact for the first time, both cultures didn't know what to think. Native American men thought the English settlers were odd and didn't understand the unfair treatment of women within the European community. In contrast to their beliefs, Native American women were forced to comply with the European standards and forced to become second-class citizens, excluding the racist treatment.
Though the roles of gender have evolved since colonial America, to an extent, the most dominant and traditional gender roles are still implanted in our society today. For example, we see more women in the workforce now than ever before, but the housework is not equally divided. In a cisgender home, women are still most likely to take care of the housework than men. This is also known as a double shift. The double shift implies that women have two jobs, their day job and their mom job. Through these double shifts, we still see some of the traditional gender expectations in a modern family. Though both the male and female have day jobs at the end of the day, women are expected to do the cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children. But we're also starting to see gender roles being flipped. Because a lot of women are getting an education and higher jobs, we are starting to see men staying home and doing the traditional mother roles. As our society is progressing, we are starting to see gender roles blending together. Men and women are no longer set to do certain gender roles as they were 60 years ago. Though we are seeing a blend between gender roles, for the most part, these roles are still implied in a heteronormative home.
Gender roles have never stayed the same and are changing until this day. It is important to understand where these thoughts and beliefs began and seeing how they evolved to this day. No one knows what gender roles will look like in 50 years, since just 50 years ago, we would have never thought that we would be living like we are today. But we do hope to push for more equality of genders for our own human progression.